What's up, YouTube? It's Joel here. It's time for a stimulus update on checks, tax credit, the $15 minimum wage, and finally a real legit timeline. I have a chart showing the two possible dates a check could be approved and when you can first see something deposited into your bank account, which we'll get to in just a moment. Right now, 9 House committees are writing portions of the relief bill. They're going to take all these parts of the bill, combine it into one, and then send it over to the House to be reviewed by the House Rules Committee. Then it's going to be brought before the full House for a vote. So we had some measures that were voted on Thursday by the House Committee that will cost around $940 billion. They passed the committee on a 24-18 party line vote. The House Ways and Means Committee on Thursday approved some parts of the bill, including those $1,400 direct payments to Americans, and they approved a lot more other stuff in terms of tax credits and even including that $15 minimum wage. Now, we thought that $15 minimum wage was out the door, but there's some people that started rallying behind it. It got some more weight, and they actually passed it through the House committee. According to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, this full stimulus bill will be voted on by the full House during the week of February the 22nd. Finally, this is something that they've been working on, they've been talking about. Biden's been talking about it, Pelosi's been talking about it, Schumer has been talking about it, and they talked about certain things within the bill, but now they finally have something that's written to be voted on that they can actually pass that can become a law. Now, pertaining to the checks, this is still keeping the same income limits of $75,000 max for individuals and $150,000 max for couples. And if you file on your taxes as head of household, you'll be maxed out at $112,500 to get the full stimulus check. So unlike previous bills where the adults would get a larger sum compared to dependents, like the previous one where the very first one with the CARES Act, adults got $1,200 and then the kids and dependents, they got $600. No, with this bill, everybody's getting $1,400 across the board. So that means that everybody getting a $1,400 check. This is where we can see a huge increase in cost compared to the previous stimulus bills in terms of the cost for these direct payments. But remember, these politicians, they have an agenda. You got to think, they could have passed this relief last year, long before December's bill was passed for stimulus. But right now is the only reason it's as big as it is and moving so quickly is because Democrats are in control over the House, over the Senate, and over the White House. We also can see you smashing that like button for the YouTube algorithm because you know what? It makes everybody happy. So the Ways and Means Committee also voted to expand tax credits for those paying for care for children. This new child care credit would call for giving families a $3,600 per child under age of 6 and $3,000 per child for older minors up to the age 17. The amount would then be divided over a year and would begin as monthly payments in July, so you can expect to receive this in terms of the full, depending upon how many kids you have or many dependents that you got on your taxes, that you'll be getting a payment every single month for an entire year to equate to the total amount that you're supposed to get. So in previous, they would be just applied to your taxes, so you would either get a larger refund or you would pay less taxes. But this, because of the pandemic, they're actually issuing out a monthly payment. This is something huge that's going to give immediate help and relief to families, especially families with kids and dependents. Democrats are doing all of this under reconciliation. It's the process that moves the final passage of this bill to a simple majority vote in the Senate, instead of the 2/3 vote required for most other legislation. Because remember, the Senate has 50 Republicans and 48 Democrats, plus 2 dependents who always usually vote with the Democrats, meaning the chamber is evenly split. But you got Vice President Kamala Harris, who has the authority to cast any tie-breaking vote, meaning the bill is expected to pass once it gets to the Senate. So this chart shows you what the IRS could be sending out the next stimulus checks based on how quickly it gets processed and then sent out the second stimulus payments. So if this stimulus check passes Congress on Friday, February 26th, and then the stimulus bill is signed into law on March 1st, you can expect to receive the first direct deposit check sent in the week of March 8th. And then the paper checks will be sent out the week of March 15th, and then the first EIP cards are sent the week of March. But if the stimulus check passes Congress on Friday, March the 12th, then the stimulus bill is signed into law on March the 14th, and then you can expect to receive that first direct deposit check sent in the week of March the 22nd, and then the paper checks will be sent out the week of March the 29th, and then the first EIP cards are sent out the week of April the 5th. And claims for missing stimulus money is open until May 3rd. Now let's talk about the minimum wage, making a comeback just like mom jeans and corduroy. So the whole goal is to pull people out of poverty, give people the raise to provide equality in the workforce, maybe cut a portion of the gap between the rich and the poor. But according to CBO.gov, if the $15 minimum wage passes, employment would be reduced by 1.4 million workers, or 0.9%, according to CBO's average estimate by 2025. So then 1.4 million people are out of a job, but you got a group of people that just got a pretty big raise. But even though the House committee approved this, it still has to go to the floor to be voted on, and then it has to go and be passed through the Senate, and then it has to be signed by Biden. But we ain't worried about Biden because, you know, he's the one that's actually proposing it, and then you got Chuck Schumer who's pushing for it in the Senate. So this is something that unless the Republicans step up, it's going to actually happen. So increasing the federal minimum wage from $7.25 to $15 an hour by 2025 would cut employment by 1.4 million people, but would lift roughly around 900,000 Americans out of poverty. I'm not really understanding the math here. So in this instance, you took the poor, who, you know, they're saying they're below the poverty line, and made them the poorest, or even poorer than what they were, and then you also put them on unemployment. Also, you got to think of the effect it's going to have on businesses and prices. Every price everybody's pay is worked out already in terms of like business and cost already. So you got to think that whenever this does happen, every single thing that's attached to somebody's pay is going to be affected, because these are big executives. They might take a small pay cut, you know, in order to help out, but don't doubt that prices are not gonna go up. They know, and they're gonna get their money in terms of those that are really wealthy or those that are sitting in the big executive seats. Because raising the minimum wage doesn't change the mindset of people or provide the opportunity to people they need to help get them out of these minimum wage jobs. Because you got to think about it, most minimum wage jobs are entry-level jobs. They're meant to be as like a stepping stone to something bigger. But if someone is making minimum wage, they need help stepping up past that entry-level job. And if you want to make more, you have to do more. You have to provide more skills. You have to provide more value than what people are seeing or what you got hired on as. So if the government is telling you your value, then whatever they say it is, that's what you are. And this is where I have to say, don't let someone else blanket you and put you into a group that's literally at what they call the minimum. So this unlocks the process for lawmakers to draft a final coronavirus relief bill under the budget reconciliation rules that would let Democrats avoid a GOP filibuster and pass the major stimulus legislation on their own as long as their caucus remains united. So one good thing is checks are coming. I'm cool with providing some support, getting people some relief, but where do you draw the line? Because a lot of money is being printed, the deficit is going up, and we're adding a lot of debt to our national debt. So let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching, you guys. This is Joe with True Life Investing. Until next time, peace out.